Aaliyah was a 17-year-old girl living with her father, Darren. They had always been close, especially since her mother had passed away when she was only 10. Life without her mom had been tough, but Darren had done his best to raise her, and they became each other's support system. Aaliyah, a bright and cheerful girl, always wanted the best for her father. Darren, however, had been distant over the past year. He was no longer the fun, relaxed dad she remembered. Everything changed when Vanessa entered their lives. Vanessa was a beautiful woman, tall, slim, and always perfectly dressed. She seemed charming to others, but to Aaliyah, there was something fake about her. At first, Aaliyah thought it was just because she was having a hard time accepting that her father had found someone new. But as time passed, her suspicions grew. Vanessa had started coming over to their house often, making herself comfortable, rearranging things, and giving Aaliyah advice on things she didn't ask for. "You should try to eat healthier," Vanessa would say while pushing aside Aaliyah's favorite snacks. "Maybe you should focus on a different career path," she would suggest, even though Aaliyah already had dreams of becoming a writer. It was clear Vanessa wanted control. What bothered Aaliyah the most was how her father acted differently when Vanessa was around. Darren seemed nervous, always wanting to please Vanessa. He even started agreeing with her on things that didn't make sense. Aaliyah felt like she was losing her father to this woman. One evening, Aaliyah was sitting in her room, trying to focus on her schoolwork, but her mind kept wandering. She overheard a conversation between her father and Vanessa downstairs. "We should get married soon, Darren," Vanessa was saying in a soft voice. "It will make everything easier." Aaliyah's heart sank. She hadn't heard anything about a wedding until now. She ran downstairs and confronted her father. "Dad, you're getting married? You didn't tell me?" Darren looked uncomfortable. "I was going to tell you, Aaliyah. Vanessa and I have been talking about it for a while now." Vanessa smiled, but it wasn't a warm smile. It was cold and calculating. "We want you to be happy for us, Aaliyah," she said sweetly. "You'll always be part of the family." Aaliyah didn't feel convinced. Something felt wrong. She had no proof, but her gut told her that Vanessa wasn't marrying her father for love. After that night, Aaliyah started paying more attention to Vanessa. She noticed how Vanessa's phone would ring late at night and how she'd leave the room to answer. Sometimes Vanessa would leave the house for hours without telling Darren where she was going. One night, Aaliyah overheard Vanessa talking to someone on the phone. She was whispering, but Aaliyah could hear every word. "Don't worry," Vanessa said softly. "Once the wedding is done, I'll get access to his accounts. It'll all be ours soon." Aaliyah froze. What was Vanessa talking about? Was she planning to take her father's money? Who was she speaking to? For days, Aaliyah wrestled with what she had overheard. Should she tell her father? What if he didn't believe her? She didn't want to break his heart, but she couldn't let him marry a woman who was planning to steal from him. One day, when Darren wasn't home, Aaliyah tried to talk to Vanessa directly. She found her in the kitchen, making tea. "Vanessa, can we talk?" Aaliyah asked, her heart pounding. "Of course, sweetie," Vanessa said, pouring herself a cup. "What's on your mind?" "I know you're planning something," Aaliyah said, trying to sound confident. "I heard you on the phone. You're not marrying my dad because you love him, are you?" For a moment, Vanessa's expression changed. Her smile disappeared and her eyes turned cold. But then, just as quickly, she smiled again. "You've misunderstood, Aaliyah," she said calmly. "I love your father. I would never do anything to hurt him." Aaliyah didn't believe her. She could see through Vanessa's lies, but without proof, she knew her father wouldn't listen. The wedding day came sooner than Aaliyah expected. It was a sunny afternoon, and the garden was filled with guests. White chairs were set up, and beautiful flowers decorated the archway where her father and Vanessa would soon exchange vows. Aaliyah sat in her seat, watching nervously as the guests arrived. She could see her father standing at the front, looking happy and excited, but all she could think about was how she needed to stop this. She didn't know what to do. Should she tell everyone what she had overheard? Should she speak up before it was too late? As the music started playing, Aaliyah's heart raced. Vanessa appeared, walking down the aisle in a stunning white dress. The guests whispered about how beautiful she looked, but Aaliyah could only think about the conversation she had overheard. When the priest asked if anyone objected to the marriage, Aaliyah felt her stomach tighten. This was her last chance. She had to do something. "I object!" Aaliyah shouted, standing up. The guests gasped, and her father turned to look at her, confused. "Aaliyah, what are you doing?" Darren asked, his face turning red with embarrassment. "I'm sorry, Dad," Aaliyah said, her voice shaking, "but I can't let you marry her. She's hiding something from you. I overheard her talking on the phone about taking your money after the wedding." Vanessa's face went pale. The guests murmured, and Darren looked shocked. "Is this true, Vanessa?" Darren asked, his voice tense. Vanessa started to speak, but before she could say anything, her phone rang loudly. Darren grabbed the phone and answered it. "Hello?" Darren said. There was silence for a moment, and then a man's voice spoke on the other end. "Vanessa, is it done yet? We need to move quickly." Darren's face turned white. He dropped the phone and looked at Vanessa with disbelief. "You've been lying to me," he whispered. Vanessa tried to explain, but Darren didn't want to hear it. He turned to Aaliyah, his eyes filled with regret. "I'm so sorry, Aaliyah," he said quietly. "I should have listened to you." The police arrived quickly after Darren called 911. Vanessa was arrested for conspiracy and fraud. It turned out she had been working with her secret boyfriend to marry Darren and gain access to his bank accounts. They had planned to run away together after taking everything he had. Aaliyah felt relieved that her father was safe, but she also felt sad that it had come to this. Darren was heartbroken, but he was also grateful to his daughter for saving him from making a terrible mistake. "I don't know what I would have done without you, Aaliyah," Darren said, hugging his daughter tightly. "You saved me?" Aaliyah smiled through her tears. "I just wanted to protect you, Dad. I love you." From that day forward, Darren realized how important it was to listen to his daughter. He promised never to ignore her instincts again. They moved on together, stronger than ever, knowing that they could face anything as long as they had each other.